It is fascinating to watch how conservatives are spinning this whole Charlie Kirk shooting. Now they're blaming social media, which is kind of laughable, but okay, so that's the new tactic. Initially, when it happened, they were blaming Democrats and the left. Nancy Mace said it, Trump said it, oh, it's the radical left. Oh, it's the Democrats. They're to blame for Charlie Kirk getting shot. Then we meet Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter, who is from Utah, 22 years old, from a conservative family. And he's like, oh, crap, what do we do now? So the main thing is that they're blaming social media. So Governor Cox from Utah was on the Sunday morning shows. And it's interesting because Kristen Walker on Meet the Press asked him, how's the investigation going? And he said, well, we'll have more on Tuesday, but I want to say that yes, Tyler did come from a conservative family, but his ideology changed over the years. So it was like, oh no, he's not like these good white conservative folks in Utah. He was different. He was a different one. Yeah, he was white over here, but he's a different type of white. So there's that. And then he doubled down. So Tyler's roommate is working with the authorities, like giving him information. And it's okay, that's cool. And then Governor Cox said, yeah, that's his boyfriend, and who is transitioning. There was no need for that. Only thing Governor Cox had to say was, the roommate is helping us with our investigation. We'll have more on Tuesday. That's all he had to say. But again, he had to separate Tyler Robinson from the good white folk, right? So you separate them, one say, well, yeah, he's from a conservative family, but he had his ideology changed, and yeah, he's a white dude, he's a white male, but he might be gay or bi. That's what he's alluding to, and he has a roommate who's transitioned to become a woman. There was no need for that. And for the roommate's kind of like, if I'm the roommate, I say, hey man, I'm helping y'all, and y'all putting my business out there, like, So no, so yeah, they were stuck. They probably sat around and figured, man, he's white from Utah and a conservative. How do we spin this so he doesn't seem like he's one of us? His ideology changed, and he has a transgender roommate, and it may have been a relationship, which we really don't know. Cox is just saying that we don't know if they were boyfriend. I mean, they were in a relationship or not. They could have just been roommates. We don't know. But we have to spin it because he's a white guy, but he's not that white guy. He's not like us. So that's the beginning of that. And then Cox kept on talking, and he mentioned how social media is to blame for all this stuff. Social media is the reason why Charlie Kirk got shot. The one thing about these conservatives, and they're complicit in this, along with the media, they will never shout out or talk about these radical organizations that's online, these radical groups, white supremacist groups, neo-Nazi groups, that's on not just on social media, but 4chan, the dark web, all these groups out there who hate everybody unless you're a white, Anglo-Saxon, and Christian. Like, it's just white male only type stuff. But they won't ever talk about that. They will not mention, because they always talk about the radical left. They say this all the time, but what about these radical organizations that still believes in Hitler's teachings? That was back in the 1940s with Hitler. And we still have people in 2025 who still believe in that guy's teachings. He was a horrible person. But they'll never bring that stuff up. They never talk about neo-Nazis. They never talk about white supremacists. These things never come up. And the media's complicit in this because they never bring these things up either. Even with Charlie Kirk. Whenever they talk about Charlie Kirk, they never show some of the things that he said that was against black folks. They won't do it. Mike Johnson just recently was talking about how loving Charlie Kirk was. And I'm sure Charlie Kirk was loving to his wife and his family and the people who supported him and the people who have his same ideology, but he didn't love everybody. He did call MLK awful. He did say that if I see a black pilot, I hope he's qualified. He did say things like that, but the media, they won't show it. Maybe they're scared because they feel like, oh, well, it's the liberal bias against the right. So what? Facts are facts. You can't paint Charlie Kirk as this loving human being like MLK, and you find these quotes out there. It's like, nah, he wasn't all this loving. He loved the people who thought the same way he did. If you're on the opposite side, he didn't love you. I will give him credit for debating people. That was good because most of these conservatives, they probably won't debate people. But at least Charlie did do that. So I give him kudos on that. But overall, no, he wasn't this loving individual. He just loved the people who loved him, and that's about it. Everybody else who didn't fit what a true American is, nah, he had no time for you. So yeah, so it's quite fascinating now to blame social media for this. And even if you did change social media, let's say Facebook and X, Instagram, they all decided to do things that's going to protect children. Great. Maybe there'll be some guardrails they can do where if you're under 18, you can't reach certain platforms. Fantastic. But what's that going to do with the dark web? What's that going to do with encrypted chats? What's that? I mean, what if 4chan? I don't know if 4chan's still around. Let's say 4chan is still around. They might say, well, we're not going to do anything about it. If Facebook want to do something fine, if X want to do something fine, well, then we're not changing anything. You can't force these companies to do this. They're a private-owned company. You can't force them to do that. You can try, but I mean, why would they do it? And, you know, the profits for some of these organizations, they make money off of these radical rights, these white supremacists, these neo-Nazis organizations. That's the scary thing. And look at Republicans too. They know the reasons why I think they don't come after those good dudes, and they know a lot of those guys probably vote for them. So you can't say, hey, we're going after white supremacists, and 5% of your voting base is white supremacists. You're not going to risk that. So yeah, so the goal now is to blame social media for all of this. You can blame it all you want. Even if all the social media changes, it's not going to change anything. Social media was not to blame for Nancy Pelosi's husband getting hit over the head with a hammer. Social media wasn't to blame for these militias in Michigan trying to kidnap Governor Whitmer. Social media wasn't to blame for that dude that was trying to burn down Shapiro's home, Governor Shapiro's home in Pennsylvania with his family still in the house. So yeah, if you want to change it, that's fine, but it doesn't change the fact that we have some really horrible white supremacist groups out there, neo-Nazi groups. Even the people you looked at January 6th, I'm not saying that they were white supremacists or anything like that, but I will say that they were very angry white guys. The majority of those people were all very angry white guys, and they never asked the question after that, why are these white guys so angry? Most of them had jobs. That's the crazy thing. That's the thing I will never quite understand. I understand if you lost your job or things you snapped or you were always kind of off kilter anyway, or you just kind of messed up in the head. Okay, I'll buy that if you just was already nuts. But most of these dudes, I mean, they had jobs and families and nice homes, but they're so angry. But they never asked the question. They never asked the question, why are the guys on January 6th, mostly white males, are so angry? Now, if it was a bunch of black folks doing it, they would say the angry black male. What's wrong with the angry black male? And it'd be think pieces and all these brothers would be thrown in jail and they wouldn't have been pardoned. First of all, they all would have been sent to jail that night. They wouldn't be able to go home and just chill. They would have been sent to jail that night, and Trump probably wouldn't have pardoned them. These guys were able to chill until they found them, went to prison, and both of them now got pardoned. And some of them has already gone back to prison because they're insane. So yeah, man. So until we get into why white guys are so angry, why is this deep thing about militias? Why they're white supremacists? Why dudes still learning about us, still embracing the teachings of Hitler? Why in 2025 black folks there's still a big wealth gap between black folks and white folks? Until we start tackling the real problems in our country, the racism that we have in our country, you could change social media all you want. It's not going to stop the next Tyler Robinson.